Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If it's your first time here, my name is John Imperial. I'm an architect in Anchorage, Alaska, and today I want to give you guys my comparison video between the Sony XM4s and the Airpods Max. So I've been using both headphones for about 2 weeks now. I've been alternating between this two, and I just want to share to you guys my experience as a casual listener. So a little bit of context here. I was wanting to get the Sony XM4s for Christmas. I actually had it on my wish list, and right about the same time, the Airpods Max was announced, and it was very intriguing to me. So I thought to myself, well, why not just order it? And I'm pretty sure no one's gonna buy me an Airpods Max, right? I was wishing that I could get my hands on both so that I can give this review to you guys. So my original idea was I'm getting the Airpods Max just for the sake of this review, and I'm gonna return it because I know that I don't need a $550 headphone, and the Sony XM4 should be good enough for me and that it should meet all my needs. Well, it's kind of easier said than done. Once I got the Airpods Max, it was actually a tougher decision than I thought it would be. So let's talk about it. Before anything else, I do want to say that I'm not an audiophile. I'm simply a casual listener who loves tech, who loves gadgets, who loves to listen to music, podcasts, and all of that stuff. So I wanted to give you guys my take and even share my experience when it comes to both headphones and help you make your decision. First up, let's talk about convenience. Well, when it comes to the Sony XM4s, you really can't fail it. It's a typical headphone and you can connect up to 2 devices. And I think that works well. Like for the most part, I can connect it to my phone and my laptop, which is mostly when I would be wearing the headphones anyway. And that works and it's nice. But if you want to connect it to a third device, say an iPad or a tablet or whatever, you would have to manually connect it, and that could be a pain, especially if you do it a lot. But with the AirPods Max, as you know, with other Apple devices, it just connects seamlessly. It can switch directly from my phone to my MacBook Pro, and if I'm getting a call on my phone, it switches to my phone. All of the stuff that you've seen with Apple products like the AirPods Pros. So when it comes to convenience, I really like the AirPods Max just because I'm in the Apple ecosystem. And if you guys aren't, then this might be a wash for you guys. I don't see any real benefit to either other than if you're in the Apple ecosystem. Now let's talk about comfort. This is kind of a tricky one because one, it's kind of subjective. So it's kind of hard for me to speak on all cases, but for the most part, I tried my best. I asked my wife for her opinion and I tested wearing them for extended periods of time. So I did several tests wherein I would switch back and forth between both headphones. I did 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 1 hour. So I was doing this test multiple times a day over a course of a week, and I gathered all the data and then looked at the common things that I was writing and then used that and kind of wrote that as a general statement for each category. So there is no doubt that for most people, they'll look at the XM4s and talk about how much lighter it is and how comfortable it is, because it's true. The ear cups are softer. They feel so nice as soon as they touch your ear. The headband has the kind of same material and it's squishy and it feels good. And the moment you put it in your head, it does feel a lot lighter. It feels like clouds. It feels like it's barely there. And that's what most people want. And for the most part, I do agree. Every time I would switch from the AirPods Max to the Sony XM4s, it feels a much more pleasant experience. Like the ear cups are softer, the headband, like I said, is softer, it's squishy. My problem with the Sony XM4s is when I'm wearing it over time. My ears tend to warm up quicker while wearing these. And there were even several times when my ears would get itchy and just hot and it feels sticky. It just has that sweaty feeling more than when I'm wearing the AirPods Max. But not to say that you can't just pull out the headphones out of your ear and then kind of get a little bit of a breather, so to speak. And this was happening pretty consistently different times. Sometimes it was 6 minutes, sometimes it was 15, sometimes it's 45. So it's not happening every time, and it's not like it's not going away. It does. But yeah, you have to take off the headphones and then put it back on or reposition it or whatnot, which it's not a big deal. So typically around 40 to 50 minutes, I would feel a little too hot and I would want to take it off, reposition it, and all of that stuff. So if you listen to music for a long time, or you have like a long video edit session, or you're studying and you just want to get in the zone, take note that you might have to do that. But like I said, this might just be my own personal experience. So when it comes to the AirPods Max, switching from the XM4s, you definitely feel the weight of it. You feel that you have something in your head a lot more. And yeah, you can tell that it's heavy. It moves a little bit when you're moving your head, but not too crazy where you feel like it's gonna fall off. And honestly, it's actually more comfortable than I thought it was going to be and other people make it out to be. The AirPods Max shine when you're wearing it long term. So if I were to compare the long-term comfort of the Sony XM4s with the AirPods Max, the Sony XM4s are kind of right here. So as soon as you wear it, it feels so comfortable and it's one of the best headphones out there. And the AirPods Max is kind of like, it's okay, nothing too crazy when it comes to comfort, it's fine. But over time, the comfort of the XM4s kind of go down because of how hot it gets. And then the AirPods Max kind of just stay steady and cruise through. And then the XM4s kind of go lower and then before it kind of just goes straight. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of the best way I can share that experience with you guys. So initially, yes, as soon as you put on the XM4s, you do feel like it's a more comfortable headphone and no brainer, of course, this is way more comfortable than the AirPods Max, but there's actually more to that. You wear it for an extended period of time. You don't just wear it for 5 minutes, right? So I wanted to make sure that you guys know about that. For me, they're both comfortable, but I happen to prefer the AirPods Max a little bit just because I don't like feeling hot. So around 40 to 50 minute mark is when I would feel discomfort while wearing the Sony XM4s. I would feel pressure at the top of my head, the back of my ear, like slightly like right here. I would feel a little bit of pressure. With the AirPods Max, feel it less, around about an hour. So like at the top of my head, I don't feel as much pain. With the Sony XM4s, I do feel a little bit of borderline pain at the top of my head when I'm wearing them. And this has happened multiple times. It's not like I wore it once and I didn't adjust it properly. It was a consistent thing. But then again, you're at the 50-minute mark. Some of you would probably want to rest at that point, take it off for a couple of minutes, then put it back on. But I just thought I'd make that point. Since I don't have long hair or glasses, I asked my wife to test it out for me, and she told me that the seal on the AirPods Max is a little bit better when she has her glasses on and her hair down. And the XM4s are obviously more squishy, and initially it does feel much nicer. When it comes to sound, I like the AirPods Max a little better. It just sounds more clean, crisp, and clear. There's no distortion when the volume is up. And you can hear better instrument separation. There's better distinction between the highs, mids, and the lows. And when I'm listening to music and actually paying attention, I hear a little bit more of a new sound that makes me think, oh, I haven't heard of that before. And then you go over to the XM4s and, oh, yeah, I hear that sound too. But with the AirPods Max, it just kind of brings it to your attention and it makes it more noticeable to you, which for me is a good thing. The overall sound of the AirPods Max is just sharp and more defined. And when it comes to the sound of the XM4s, they just sound a bit muddier. And I don't even want to say that because it's such a strong word, but in comparison to the AirPods Max, they are a bit more muddy, particularly in the mids and the lows. The bass is a bit stronger and you can definitely tell that there is a little bit more bass emphasis in this headphones. Overall, they both sound great. It's just that for my listening style, I prefer the AirPods Max. When it comes to sound leak, you can definitely hear what the other person is listening to. With the AirPods Max, it's a little bit clearer, and when it comes to the XM4s, it's a little bit more muffled. So if you don't want the person next to you hearing what you're listening to, all of that stuff, the XM4s will probably do a better job. Next up, noise canceling. I think they both do a good job of canceling out noise, but if I were to pick a winner, I would pick the XM4s. I stood right next to our intake vent, which sounds like you're in a plane when you're right next to it. So I put on my headphones, and with the AirPods Max, it seems like the volume is being lowered. That's at least how you perceive it. When you're listening, when you have the headphones on, and you're standing right next to the blower, it feels like the volume is lowered. You still know what the sound is, it's just the volume is so low. With the XM4s, not only is it being lowered, it's also being muffled, I guess. I don't know the right term, so bear with me here, but that's kind of how it feels. It feels like, well, now I know there is noise happening, but I don't know where it's coming from or what it is. So that's the best way I can distinguish it. When you're listening to something, playing music and whatnot, you really don't hear that noise anymore. It's just that, yeah, when you have it off and you're just purely testing noise canceling, the XM4s do a better job. And now let's talk about transparency mode, and it's not even a competition. The Airpods Max hands down wins this category. When you're wearing the Airpods Max, it sounds like you're not even wearing it. Like the way you're talking, you can hear yourself in a natural way. You can hear other people's voices in a natural way. And it just works so well. And it's probably the best transparency mode I've ever experienced. And with the XM4s, it sounds like you're hearing something from a mic. So yes, it works, but it's nowhere near as natural as the Airpods Max. When you're talking, you feel like you're wearing headphones, you're muffled. And yeah, it's just not a natural experience. I'd much rather just take off the headphones and talk to somebody. But then again, when you're just wanting to be aware of the surrounding while you're wearing headphones, AirPods Max is easily the way to go. So we can't talk about this to you without talking about the case. And as you guys know, the Sony XM4s comes with a proper headphones case, which is nothing crazy, but it's kind of a standard now that when you buy headphones, you get a case, especially for something so expensive. And the Apple included this smart sleeve. I can't even call it a case. And although I still don't like the design of this smart case, I actually don't mind it as much. I find that the friction to use the AirPods Max is a lot less. It's easier to just pull it out of the case, use it, wear it, and then put it back on, as opposed to unzipping the case, taking the headphones, turning it on, and all of that stuff. So I really don't mind the smart sleeve at all. It's just the fact that I paid $549 for this, and I feel like that's really overpriced. The most I would have paid for this and somewhat be okay with it is $449. Maybe they should have done that, and this is your at-home case, and then you can buy an optional case that you can use for traveling. I wouldn't mind that, because I do see what Apple was kind of going for with this case in terms of convenience. I like the fact that they act like the AirPods, wherein you put it in the case when you're not using it, and then you pull it out when you want to use it, and then it automatically turns on, it connects to all your devices and all of that. For somebody like me who loves convenience, I can deal with the smart sleeve, but I know for some people, especially after paying $549, that's a no-go. So that being said, when it comes to the case, the XM4s win hands down. The next thing I want to talk about is controls, and this should be pretty easy. The XM4s have a touch control when it comes to volumes, play, pause, next, skip track, and all of that stuff, which I think is spotty. I mean, it's harder to control something with touch, and that's just a pretty normal thing. Like when it comes to buttons, you know exactly what you're doing when you're pressing them. So the AirPods Max has been more reliable in that regard. Believe it or not, with the XM4s, they have a power button. Come on, Apple, you should learn how to create a power button. And they also have a custom button which you can set to whatever you like. With the AirPods Max, you get a button for toggling between the noise canceling and transparency mode. And you have the digital crown, which I love because you can adjust your volume and have more controls in a more effective and reliable way. And this is also your button to skip, play, pause, and previous track. So I like the buttons on the AirPods Max a lot more just because it's tactile. Like you feel it, you do something with it, and it just works. And sometimes I want to turn down the volume real quick on the XM4s, and then I have to keep swiping, and then sometimes it doesn't register, which I'm not a fan of. I actually would much rather prefer the buttons that were in the QC35s. But yeah, this is what we have with the Sonys. Battery life, no brainer. Sony XM4s win hands down. I wasn't able to test how long it is, but still 30 hours compared to 20 hours. It's kind of like big difference there. So the last thing I want to talk about is price, and I got the Sony XM4s for $278, which is half the price of what the Airpods Max is priced at. The Airpods Max is $549, which is a lot of money, and for most people that's a good enough reason to get the Sony XM4s, and you really can't go wrong with that decision. But for some people, they do want the best of the best. So if you exclude the price and you put the AirPods Max up against the XM4s, I do think that the AirPods Max is a better headphone. If you look at the categories, it's 5 versus 3. And those 5 categories are more important to me as a user. But when you insert the price factor, it makes it so hard to make a case for the AirPods Max. No pun intended. And I say that because most people would find it hard to pay double just to get a slightly better headphones, because there's no way the AirPods Max is twice as better of a headphone than the XM4s. Like I said, I think if Apple priced this at $449, they would get more orders and less returns, because I think right now, with what I'm seeing, people are returning the AirPods Max. A couple of my friends got them, returning it already. If you get this at a regular price at $349 and this at $449, I wouldn't mind paying $100 to get that slightly better headphones. But if you're asking me to pay $250 to get slightly better headphones, that's kind of a tough deal. So as for me and which one I would want to keep, I really don't know yet. I have a couple more days to think about it. Actually, I took some time and thought about which one I would rather keep, and I think I've made my decision. I decided to keep the Sony XM4s. I know. It's kind of sad really, because I do love the AirPods Max, but I just can't justify spending $550 for headphones that has a little bit of quirks and a little bit of compromises. And I do think that the difference between these two headphones are not that big, so I'd much rather save $275 and maybe spend it towards something else in the future. Before the release of the AirPods Max, this was my first choice, and you really can't beat the value of the Sony XM4s, and right now they seem like the budget option. So I'm pretty happy with that decision. I'm excited too for maybe the next gen of the AirPods Max, but for now, this is not for me. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you thinking of getting either of these headphones? If you are, let me know in the comments below which one you would rather have. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you loved it, subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.